Baby, you don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel like chemistry.
Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. This is my absolute first official video I should say, of being on YouTube. And I decided that I was going to ask a few of my loved ones to send over some questions where I could answer those questions on this video so that you all are able to get to know me a little bit better versus me just talking about myself. So I felt like that would be a better vibe. Excuse me. But to start the video off, this is very rude. But to start the video off, I am 27 years old. I was born in Florida, Miami to be exact. And what else? That's just a little brief summary of me, of who I am. The questions that they asked me, they're pretty good questions, so I feel like that'll be able to express who I am even more. Oh, it's been such a long time coming, you guys. I've been trying to start my YouTube out for so long. I am obsessed with YouTube. I sit down and I watch YouTube all day, every day. I have people that I'm subscribed to that I just binge watch their videos. When I find somebody new, I get excited. I just love YouTube. I love what it does. I love how just regular people are able to create content for the entire world to see. And you're able to just experience realness. It's no TV shows or strips. It's realness, and I love that. So I felt like this is just like perfect for me personally. But I'm not gonna do too much talking. I'm gonna go ahead and get into this video and answer these questions. Let's do it. All right, so I have the questions up. Number one, I'm not going to say who they're from, and they're not in any specific order. So question number one is, why do you want to be a YouTuber? And in the previous clip, I was kind of going into answering that, but like I was saying, I feel like YouTube is a lovely place. I feel like it gives you the opportunity to express who you really are and to just get in front of a camera and create your own vibes at your own time and at your own pace. And I love that. I love the idea of it. I love what comes behind it, and I'm just very intrigued into getting into this world. So that is why I want to be a YouTuber. I feel like it's actually a perfect match for me. I know it's not easy, and I know that some people may think it's easy just being on the outside looking in, but I'm personally ready to give YouTube all that it takes, because I honestly and truthfully feel like this is it for me. So to answer that question, that is why I want to be a YouTuber. The second question is, what YouTuber inspires me the most? Now, I watch a lot of different people on YouTube. I have a lot of not a lot, but I have a few different people that I am subscribed to and that I love. If I'm subscribed to you, I love your content, period, point blank. But the top, I would say, two people that I watch the most, it used to be De'Ara and Ken, but as you guys know, their channel is still up, but they are no longer filming or making new content on that page, and they have already created their own separate channels. So with that being said, I did very much so enjoy their content together as a couple. Their channels separated are good. It's good content, but it's just not the same, and I'm pretty sure everyone feels that way. that we miss what we're used to, kind of a thing. So I would say, to answer that question, which YouTuber inspires me the most, I would say Taneea for one, for sure. I just love how she made something out of nothing, and she just literally went all the way to the top. And she's not even all the way at the top, but she's doing very well for herself, and that is very inspirational. So I would say Taneea for one. And another YouTuber who inspires me a lot, I said inspires me a lot, is Chelsea. Her name is Chelsea. I think her YouTube name is I am Chelsea Janae or something like that. I'll tag it in the description box. But she inspires me simply because when I found her page, she wasn't the most popular YouTuber. She literally started from the bottom, how I'm doing, and she showed like her progression. She showed her progression. She never gave up, and she kept going, and her everything is thriving. Like everything is just, the follower count is getting bigger. Everything is getting bigger. Subscription count is getting bigger, and I just love that for her. I feel like she keeps it so real in her videos. She's just truly herself. She's not trying to be anyone else. She gives raw content, and I feel like that's what people love about her. So that is very inspirational because that is the pathway that I am trying to go. I chose these two because Taneea is, you know, one of the top YouTubers, and then you have Chelsea, who she's not just, you know, low or anything like that, but she is still striving to get at higher levels, and I totally respect that. She's doing very well for herself as well. She was able to move to a entirely different state and just up and leave where she is originally from and make a new life for herself and her spouse, and that's very respectable for me because not everybody is able to do that. Not everybody is able to just pack their things up and leave or go to a different state at their own leisure. Not everyone can do that or is capable of doing that. So that's very respectable, very inspirational, and those two are my top two inspirational YouTubers to answer that question. So next question, what are 3 of your favorite things to do in life? I would say I love food, as you can tell. But I love food. I love eating. I love not just eating, but I love eating very good food. Like, I'm a foodie. So I would say one of my favorite things to do in life is to eat good food and try new eateries and hidden gems. Number 2 is to travel. I am a person who wants to explore the entire world. I want to see things from all points of views, different cultures. Like, that is what I am into, and I pray that God blesses me where I am able to do that for a living, where I'm able to make money while traveling the world. That is my ultimate goal in life. But number 2 is definitely traveling, as far as being one of my favorite things to do. And the third thing that I love to do is, honestly and truthfully, is be at home and either watching YouTube or resting and relaxing. That's honestly and truly my favorite thing to do. And that's even before the pandemic started. I am a person who enjoys my own space. I never get bored. I truly enjoy my own company, and I feel like that is honestly and truthfully one of my favorite things to do, is just being home, relaxing, watching YouTube, just being in my own element is for sure a favorite. So those are top 3. The next question is, what are your goals in the next 10 years? And these types of questions, they scare me because my goals are obviously not unattainable, but my goals scare me, y'all. Like, I want so much for myself, and it's not just one thing that I want. Like, I want multiple streams of income. I want so much out of life. So when I get asked that type of question, it's like I honestly don't just have an answer for it. I just want, it's a lot that I want out of life. I have a lot of goals. Honestly and truthfully speaking, my top goal in life is to be able to have an income where I don't even have to be wealthy. I just want to have an income where I am able to not only take care of myself, but take care of all of my loved ones and have all of us living comfortably without, you know, any other sorts of things going on. So that is a goal in life, is to be able to achieve the necessary steps in life so that I'm able to take care of all of my loved ones. That's definitely my top goal in life right now. So to answer that question, there you go, is to be able to reach that goal of being able to take care of all of my loved ones financially and emotionally and spiritually, just being there for them as much as possible. As you can see by that answer, I am very much a family person. I'm not much so of, I'm not your I wouldn't say social, but like, I'm secluded, I'm laid back, I'm to myself. But I love my family so much. I love all of my loved ones so much, and I would literally do anything and everything for them. So that's definitely a goal of mine, and it's very much so going to be hard work to get to that level, but I'm ready to put in all of the work that is needed to get there. So that's my top goal. I have a whole bunch of goals that I want to achieve. Like I said, my goals kind of scare me a little bit. Not saying that it's not achievable, but I have I have a lot of them. So the next question, this is a really good question. It says, I know you had to deal with the loss of your best friend. What would you recommend for someone in the same situation? So like I just said, this is my first official YouTube video, and none of you guys probably know me. If you know me, you're probably a family member or a friend, but if this is your first time seeing me, then you don't know me. And just to bring it to the table, one of my best friends, his name was Kareem. He passed away in 2017, and that was like a really tough year for me. Like, more so, we were 23 at the time of him passing away. You know, he had just graduated college, and it was something that was just out of the blue. So it's really tough to deal and to cope with the loss of a friend, and just more so a best friend. And I'm so sorry that I am tearing up talking about this, but this is real raw and uncut. Losing my best friend was one of the absolute toughest things that I have ever gone through in life. And very much so, the reason being is we are young. I'm gonna be right back, you guys. I'm not gonna cry on camera. All right, I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry about that. But to answer the question, and I'll repeat the question again, it said, I know you had to deal with the loss of your best friend. What would you recommend for someone in the same situation? So losing someone who's close to you is not easy. And I've lost family members, like my grandmother, my uncle, like people who I was really close to, like who helped raise me and who I was around like for all of my life. I've lost them. And I'm not saying that it's less hurtful. But their deaths were not as much as a surprise as my best friend's death, because my grandmother, she was older. Not saying, once again, that it was not hurtful, but it was just much more of a surprise that my best friend passed away versus my grandmother and my uncle, because they were battling some issues with their health at the time of their passing. So it's not something that I was happy about, but it's also not something that I was completely shocked by. Versus me just getting a random phone call saying that my best friend had passed away. Like, that was one of, and I wanted to, like, people don't even know this. This is like information where I don't speak on or I don't talk about to anyone. But I honestly and truthfully, I went into a very deep depression, like alone. No one knew about it, but it was just very tough. And my advice to somebody who's going through a similar or the same type of situation is to allow yourself to go through all of those phases that you are going to go through. Don't try and rush it. Give yourself ample amount of time to heal and to go through each phase and to have all of those feelings, because you're gonna have a whole bunch of different emotions. You're gonna have a whole bunch of different feelings, and it's just not gonna be easy. It's not easy, but you just have to understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that they're in a better place. And that's what you have to base it off of. You have to think of all of the good memories that you had with them for all of the years that you've known them, and just know that they're in a better place and that they would want you to be happy. They wouldn't want you to just constantly be sad. You know, they would want you to live in their honor and to thrive while doing so, because that is the type of person my best friend was. So my advice is just to allow yourself to go through every step that you have to go through all of the feels. Don't rush it. Don't let anyone tell you how you should or should not feel. Just allow it to happen. Eventually, I'm not saying it gets easier, because it doesn't. Honestly and truthfully, it feels like he passed away just yesterday. Like, it's still very heartbreaking. But you, like, when he first passed away, I honestly used to cry almost every other day. And like I'm saying, this is like raw footage. A lot of people don't know this, but his death like really hurt me like terribly. So when he first passed away, I would cry every other day. And I still get teary-eyed, as you can see, like just even thinking about him. He was literally, I knew him since I was in the third, what grade was it? Sorry, y'all. What grade was it? It was third grade, I think. So I knew him since I was in third grade in elementary school. And then we continued our friendship throughout elementary, throughout middle, throughout high school, and even after high school. And we didn't even go to the same high school. Like, we went to two totally different high schools, and we still kept in touch and we're super close. He would go to my high school games. I would go to his. So it was real tough, y'all, but I'm here, and I feel like he would want me to thrive. We used to speak on like all of our goals in life and where we wanted to be and how we wanted to be. And I feel like he would want me to still accomplish those dreams and those goals. So that is what keeps me going. I feel like you should just, sorry y'all, I feel like you should just be able to live in their honor and make them proud. And also, while doing that, allow yourself to go through all of those feels at the same time, because it's very necessary. Don't try and rush through your feelings or to disregard your feelings. Allow yourself to feel how you feel. Give yourself that respect to feel how you feel, and that will help you tremendously. So there is the answer to that question. The next question is, what brings you the most happiness these days? It says, go into detail about it and express why it makes you happy. As you all know, we are literally still in a pandemic. It's COVID out here, and days are just not as certain as they used to be. It's a little bit crazy, the world that we're living in right now. So to answer that question, which is a very good question, by the way, shout out to my brother. He has really good questions, and I really appreciate that. Not to down talk or downplay anyone else's questions, but I really enjoyed the question about my best friend. I was very happy that I was able to incorporate that into my first video introducing me, because he was a very big part of my life. So to answer this question, because I honestly already forgot what the question was. Give me 1 second. Okay, here it goes. So I'll just repeat it again. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy, but it is, what brings you the most happiness these days? Go into detail about it and express why it makes you happy. So I was speaking on the pandemic, and the reason why I brought up the pandemic is because these days, what makes me the most happiest is my family. And my family and all of my loved ones, and just their health, them being healthy and happy. That makes me happy. That makes me the happiest, actually. We are in crazy, crazy times. And if you all did not know, what you probably didn't, because I did not tell you, and once again, this is my first official YouTube video, I had COVID. And not only did I have COVID, my mom had COVID, my brother had COVID, my niece had COVID. We all had COVID. And you know, like, COVID has been going on now for 2 years, and we caught COVID this year, 2021, in August, like around August, end of July, August for all of us. But when you go through those types of things, because you don't know how real it is until you're actually going through it, and then until you're actually experiencing it, you don't know how serious it is. You don't value things until, and that's just human nature. Like, we don't value things how we should until we either no longer have them or they're threatened to be taken away from us. We don't value them enough until then. So I honestly feel like these days, just being around my family and my loved ones, it makes me the happiest. COVID did me, like, not as bad as others, but it had my mother hospitalized, and she wasn't just hospitalized for a day. She was in the hospital for like 10 days, and she was having trouble breathing, and I was there with her the entire time before her hospitalization. And it was just, once again, like the scariest time of my life, and it's something I never want to go through again. It's something I never want to have to deal with again, like to just see her in that state and how she was. It kind of gets me emotional, because if you don't know, what you guys may not know, because like I said, this is an introductory video, and I keep forgetting that, but I am very close with my mom. She's like my best friend. So that was just a very trying time to deal with. And these days, what makes me the most happiness, what gives me the most happiness, is my family, and just being around them and seeing them happy, seeing them thrive, and being healthy. That brings me the most happiness, and that's the reason why that has always brought me happiness, but more so during these times, because we're living in real crazy times at this point. So there's the answer to that question. It says, the next question is, what type of personalities am I drawn to? I'm thinking, I like open-minded people. So I'm not sure if that's a personality, But I like people, and I like all types of people. I know it's not just a type of person that I like, but I just like people who are open-minded and who have genuine spirits. And I know that probably sounds cliche, but I read people very well. And I'm like all the way over here, sorry y'all. But I read people very well, and let's just say I am drawn more to people who are open-minded and who are genuine and who have clear intentions. That's who I'm drawn more towards, for obvious reasons. It says, the next question, what's your favorite food / restaurant that you just can't live without? Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I don't have a favorite food. Like I said, I'm a foodie. I just love good food, but I don't have a favorite food because I have a big amounts of food that I actually love. So I don't have a favorite food, but I do have a favorite restaurant, and my favorite restaurant is Houston's. They're kind of all over. It's not a lot of them. It is a chain restaurant, but it's not a lot of them. But they have one. They have two in South Florida. No, they got more than two. I think they probably got like 3 or 4 in South Florida. I don't know. But I mainly go to the one that's in Boca Raton, and that's pretty much it. I've gone to the other ones too, but that's the one I go to the most. But that is my favorite restaurant, and the reason being is because their food is always consistent. Like, the quality of the food and the customer service is always consistent. They never fall off. There's never a bad day. And I really appreciate that. And then aside from them being consistent, the food, the flavor is really good. So that's why that's my favorite restaurant. All right. This is actually really fun, you guys. Really, really fun. Okay. The next question. It says, what's a dream job / career you wish you would have pursued but think it's too late to do so? And then in parentheses, she put, mine was always a cartoonist. I used to want to be the artist for animated movies. So I would say a dream job / career that I wish I would have pursued, but it might be a little bit too late now. I would say, honestly speaking, to be a lawyer, just based off of the amount of schooling that it takes and the amount of years that it takes. It's something that I really wanted to do. I'm very argumentative. I don't take no for an answer. Like, if I think something is right or if I feel some type of way about something, I am going to voice my opinion about it, and I will argue you down just to get my point across. But I don't force my opinions on other people, but I'm just not easily persuaded. So I feel like being a lawyer would be my dream career or job. And it might be a little bit too late for that now. So to answer that question, a lawyer. What would you, this is the next question, by the way. It is, what would you change about yourself if you could? I would say my procrastination. Like, I'm a very big procrastinator, and it's just the nastiest trait to have, but I have it and I don't like it. So I would definitely change that about myself. Something else I would change about myself is having the ability to just, I feel and see everything. So I'll see something and I always think more into it. Like, I always feel like things are not what they perceive to be on the outside. I'm a deep thinker. So I always feel like it's more to something. And I always kind of overthink. So I feel like I would want to change being an overthinker or a deep thinker. I think I would want to change that. Because it's good qualities about being that way. And then there's also the cons. So that's something I would want to change. Next question is, what is your favorite family vacation? So let's see. I have two. I haven't been on a vacation with my entire family. Like, me, my mom, my aunt, and my cousin, for Mother's Day, we normally, like, for the past 5-6 years, we've taken a trip every Mother's Day weekend, going somewhere for that weekend. It's been like a tradition, but ever since like COVID hit, we kind of fell off with that as of last year. So, was it last year? We went somewhere last year, but it was like local. It wasn't really a vacation, and it didn't go as planned. But to answer you guys' questions, I have two vacations with family, and it was with two different sets of family. So one of the Mother's Day trips, I would say my favorite one, I really enjoyed all of our trips, but my favorite one, I would say, would be the Bahamas. If y'all don't know, my family is Bahamian, and I love going to the Bahamas. It's one of my favorite destinations, in all honesty. Favorite hotel is Bahamar. If you don't know, figure it out, because it's super nice. I knew about that hotel before it even got built, so it's one of my favorite hotels. But to answer that question, it would be the Mother's Day trip to the Bahamas. And then I've gone to the Bahamas multiple times, but also the trip with, all of my favorite trips have been to the Bahamas. Like, I went 3 different times with 3 different sets of people, and I enjoyed all 3 times. Well, I've gone more than 3 times, but those 3 times were my favorites. To answer that question, my favorite family vacations would be in the Bahamas for Mother's Day with my mom, my aunt, and my cousin. And then in the Bahamas when I went for my sister-in-law's birthday, her 30th birthday. I forgot what year it was. I'm terrible, but it might have been 2 years ago now. But that was a really good trip. It was like spur of the moment. My brother had planned this trip for my sister-in-law for her 30th birthday to the Bahamas, and they were taking my niece with them. And it was just, we surprised them, and we went, me and my mom, we went there and surprised them. They didn't even know we were going. We literally were in the hotel before them, and we surprised them while they were in the check-in line. But that was a really nice trip, and it was not even planned. So, ooh, y'all, I dropped my phone. Nah, but that was one. Those are my 2 favorite vacations with family. All right. Next question is, if you could live anywhere, where would it be? I would say Washington, D.C. or Texas. And I've never even been to Texas, but just from what I see online, Texas. But Washington, D.C., I've been there. It's beautiful. And I would live there. It's expensive. Like, the cost of living, I believe, is high. But it's really beautiful. It's like a very beautiful place. Next question. What does happiness mean to you? I feel like happiness is what you make it. So you can be going through a very hard time in your life and you can still push through and be happy and understand that life will have obstacles that you have to go through and you have to get through, but you can still, while you are going through it and getting through it, you can still have that happiness. So I feel like it's just a state of mind that it's a mindset. Like, you have to condition your mind to still be happy while you are going through whatever it is that you're going through, because it's life. We're always gonna have something that we're going through or something that's going on that we have to deal with, but it's just the fact of the matter, are you going to get through it or not? And then while you're getting through it, are you going to allow yourself to be happy and to live, or are you just gonna, you know, do the opposite? So I feel like it's a mindset and it's a state of mind where you have to condition yourself to allow yourself to be happy throughout the process, throughout this thing called life, because there's always going to be something. And happiness, everyone has their own definition of happiness and what it is. Happiness with me is just peace and being around everyone that I love, no matter the circumstances, and us all being healthy. That's happiness to me, and that's pretty much where I'm at in life. I've experienced a lot in my 27 years of living, and that's what I take from happiness. I feel like you have to create your own happiness, no matter what. No matter what, you have to create that, because nobody will create it for you. And what does it mean to me? It means everything. Happiness is everything. It's the key. It's the cheat code to life. You have to be happy. You just have to allow yourself to be happy. It's a form of self-respect. Ooh, that's a lemon drop, by the way. I make my own lemon drops and they're really good. Next question. What are your long-term goals 5 to 10 years? There was another question that was similar to this, literally, but long-term goals are putting in the work that it takes to be able to take care of all of my loved ones and for us to live very peacefully, stress-free lives. That's my main goal. I don't really like speaking on what I'm going to do. I like to just put it into action and just do it. I don't like speaking on things before I get it done, simply because you just never know what you're putting out in the universe, and you never know the way that people think. So I tend to keep my goals and my next steps in life pretty private. I would say I'm a private person, but I'm also a very vocal person, and I'm straight to the point. So with that being said, that is my main goal in life. So every other thing that I want to achieve, it ties into that, to being able to take care of my loved ones and allowing us to live a happy, peaceful, stress-free lifestyle. So yeah. And this is the last question. It says, do you believe that your zodiac sign accurately describes your personality? If so, what are the traits that you mostly agree with? Not sure what the actual, personality. Maybe I should Google this. I'm not sure. because I'm not sure what the personality traits are for. I'm a Leo, if you guys did not know. My birthday is on August 5th. But I'm just gonna see if I could pull something up real quick so I can base what I'm about to say off of that. So give me 1 second. One second. Let's see. All right. So, your zodiac sign accurately describes your personality. And if so, what are the traits that you mostly agree with? All right. So, I just pulled something up on Google for a Leo. It says that the Leo's strengths are that they're creative, passionate, generous, warm-hearted, cheerful, and humorous. Totally agree. Our weaknesses are that we are arrogant. I agree with that. Stubborn. Agree with that. Self-centered. Not so much. Lazy. That's where the procrastination comes in. Inflexible. I don't agree with that. I'm very flexible. Yeah. So I agree with most of these, like traits, the strengths and the weaknesses. I agree with that. I am creative, passionate, generous, warm-hearted, cheerful, and humorous. And then my weaknesses are that I'm arrogant and stubborn. I'm not self-centered. I am a bit lazy when it comes to, and I wouldn't just say lazy, but I procrastinate a lot. And I don't like that about myself. Like I said before, that's one of the things that I would like to change. So yeah, I mostly agree with those traits. And I do believe in zodiacs, by the way, because like I said, I read people very well. And I've ran into different zodiac signs. And I've noticed that some zodiac signs, the people they act they have similar ways, similar traits. So I'm one of those people, I do believe in that. You can call it what you want, but I do believe in it to a certain extent. Like I don't go crazy with it, but to a certain extent I do believe in it. But that just about wraps up all of the questions that I was asked. I am missing a set of 3 questions because I kind of lost them, and the person who sent them, they're not able to resend them. So I just had to make the video without those 3. I feel like one of their questions was, what do I fear the most? I think that was one of the questions that they asked. And what I fear the most, I would say, is just losing anyone I love. Like, I take death very hard. And it's not something that I will ever be okay with, or that I will ever get used to. So that's something I fear, is losing any of my family members. Oh, and I think another one of the questions was, do you fear failure or something of that sort? And my answer to that question is, I don't fear failure. I feel like the only time that you fail is when you give up, is when you stop trying. But anything else is just a stepping stone to get you to where you need to be in life. I don't feel like it's failure. I feel like the only time that you fail is when you completely give up and stop trying. So I don't fear failure, because I don't consider myself as failing. Like, I'm just going to keep going and keep going until I get to where I want to be, or till I complete what I need to do. So I don't fear it. I just overcome it. So there's no fear. I just overcome each stepping stone and I keep going. I never give up. So those are the 2 questions I can remember. I can't remember the third one. They were good questions too, but I lost them. So I think I answered 2 of 3 of those. So if you're watching, I answered 2 out of 3 of your questions and you know who you are. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Not sure how long this video will be. I'll have to edit it. This will be my first time doing so bear with me. But I really do appreciate you guys tuning in, listening, getting to know me. My channel will be a very full-fledged channel. I'll have all type of different content included in my channel. My next trip is possibly in like 2 weeks. But the way that COVID is picking up, I'm not exactly sure. But if I do continue with my trip, I will definitely vlog it, like the entire experience, and that'll be my first travel vlog. I wish I would have started doing this a long time ago so I could have taken you guys along the way with past vacations. But cheers to new memories. Cheers to better vacations and better times that I'm able to record for you guys. But once again, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your lives to sit and watch me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. Just go ahead and pause that video right now and go subscribe. And just let me know how you guys feel about my first video in the comments. I take all constructive criticism. Don't be nasty because you will get blocked. But just give me your honest opinion on this video, how you guys felt. What was the most interesting question or answer to you? Let me know if you can relate to any of my answers down below in the comments. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, The Life of Taneea. And once again, I really appreciate you guys so much. I love y'all. Stay safe. COVID is just spinning the block, y'all. So go ahead and get those masks. Protect yourselves. Vaccinated or not vaccinated, protect yourselves. Take the necessary precautions to stay safe. Because it's not a joke. I've gone through it before. My family's gone through it before. It's not something you want to put yourself in that predicament with. Not everyone experiences the same thing, but just protect yourself. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I will see y'all in the next video. I hope this video gave you guys some type of insight on who I am. And you'll be able to learn me more throughout the videos that I post. But this was just a little introduction. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, I appreciate you for watching this far. Mwah.
'Cause the love you give, it can't be replaced.